My friend, allow me to be painfully honest with you. You are not tired. You are undisciplined. Yes, you feel drained. You feel worn. Your body aches, your mind resists, and everything inside you says, I need rest. But what you truly need is order. What you need is purpose. You need to stop mistaking exhaustion for escape. You are not fatigued from too much effort. You are exhausted from too little direction. In my time, I watched men labor in coal mines 12 hours a day and still find energy to read at night, to teach their children, to build something greater than themselves. Their bodies were tired, yes, but their spirit was alive. Today, many are weary not from work, but from waste of time, waste of attention, waste of potential. You are not tired from striving. You are tired from scrolling, from starting and never finishing, from planning and never acting. Let me tell you a story. There was a man I once knew named Harold. He worked at a printing press, a loud, demanding job that required focus, precision, and strength. Each morning, before the sun rose, he would walk 3 miles to the factory. By the time others were still sipping tea, Harold had already broken a sweat. But here is what astonished me. Every evening after work, Harold did not go straight to sleep, nor to the pub, nor to idle chatter. He returned home, washed the ink from his hands, and sat down at a small wooden desk with a flickering candle and a stack of old books. He taught himself mechanics, philosophy, mathematics, slowly, patiently, with relentless determination. One day I asked him, Harold, how do you find the strength? He looked at me and said, Mr. Smiles, it is not about strength. It is about respect for the life I was given and the life I am building. I am not tired when I am growing. Those words never left me. I am not tired when I am growing. You see, Harold understood what many today forget, that weariness of the flesh is bearable when the soul is aligned with purpose. He had no formal education, no mentors, no wealth, but he had discipline, and that made all the difference. Contrast him with the man who wakes up late, stares at a screen for hours, does nothing of substance, and yet complains of being burned out. This is not burnout. This is boredom. This is the fatigue of potential unexpressed. Discipline brings clarity. Clarity brings energy. When your days are ruled by distraction, your life becomes a series of starts without endings, efforts without direction, and moments without meaning. That is the real cause of your exhaustion. You are living without structure, and structure is the backbone of strength. Do not misunderstand me. I do not speak against rest. Rest is sacred. But there is a rest that restores and a rest that rots. The rest that follows discipline rebuilds. The rest that replaces discipline decays. You must decide which kind you will embrace. So let me tell you, plainly and without softness. You are not tired. You are undisciplined. And the moment you reclaim structure, intention, and action, you will find strength where you thought it had left you. You do not need more sleep. You need more commitment. You do not need escape. You need engagement. You do not need comfort. You need clarity. Harold found energy not in his bed, but in his purpose. Let me take you deeper now, not into theory, but into the life of a man whose story I never forgot. His name was James. At a glance, James was ordinary. He was not famous, not rich, not born into comfort. He was a man of modest means, living in a narrow street with cracked windows and a leaky roof. But what made James different was what lived within him: ambition. Fierce, relentless ambition. He wanted to become a doctor, not for status, not for applause, but because he had watched his younger sister die when no physician could be found. He swore to himself that day that he would be the one to help others when no one else would. But there was one enemy James had to face: not poverty, not ignorance, not illness. His enemy was himself. You see, James was clever. He passed his entrance exams. He earned a place in a preparatory program. He even secured part-time work at a pharmacy to afford his books. On paper, everything aligned. But he had one flaw. He followed his emotions, not his values. On days when he felt motivated, he would study for hours. He would take notes, rehearse his lectures, and speak with passion about anatomy, chemistry, the human mind. But those days were rare. Most days, James felt tired. He would say, "My brain's not working today," or "I need to be in the right mood to focus." And slowly, the gaps began to widen. One missed assignment turned into two. One skipped study session became three. A late night turned into a late morning. Then, suddenly, he was behind. And rather than face the truth, he told himself what so many do: "I just need a break. I'll work better tomorrow." This isn't laziness, it's burnout. No, it was not burnout. It was undisciplined living, dressed up as self-care. I visited him once during this time. His room was dark, books unopened, notes scattered. I asked, "James, what happened?" He sighed. "I just don't feel like myself anymore. I think I'm overwhelmed." I looked him in the eyes and said, "You are not overwhelmed. You are undecided. You haven't decided what kind of man you want to be when your feelings betray you. You haven't chosen discipline." He was silent. You see, discipline is not about how you feel. It's about what you value. When feelings lead, your life becomes a storm, chaotic, unpredictable, directionless. But when values lead, your life becomes a compass, steady, focused, unwavering. James thought he needed rest. He thought he needed inspiration. What he needed was to make a vow to himself: to do what must be done, whether I feel like it or not. Discipline is keeping that vow every day. Eventually, James dropped out of his program. He returned to the pharmacy full-time, not because he couldn't succeed, but because he waited for motivation instead of building momentum. And motivation is a coward. It never shows up when you need it most. I share James' story not to shame him, but to warn you. You may think your lack of progress is due to circumstances, to fatigue, to being not in the right headspace. But I ask you honestly, have you structured your life with discipline? Or are you chasing feeling after feeling, hoping that success will meet you where you are? It will not. Success meets those who move, not those who wait. It meets those who decide, not those who hesitate. Let me be clear. You are not tired. You are untrained. You are undisciplined. You are drifting. But the good news is this: you can change that. Discipline is not a gift. It is not something you're born with. It is not the privilege of the strong. It is a decision. A decision you must remake every single day, especially on the days when you don't feel like it. There is no mystery to success. There is only order. There is only commitment. There is only discipline. And those who build it, brick by brick, moment by moment, become unshakable. James could have been great, but he waited for the right feeling instead of becoming the right person. Do not make the same mistake. Get up when it's hard. Show up when it's dull. Act when it's inconvenient. That is where the transformation begins. Let us now speak plainly. You do not rise by chance. You do not improve by waiting. You do not grow by accident. You grow by effort, daily, deliberate, and often unseen. Modern life has taught you to chase ease, to protect comfort, to prioritize how you feel. A comfort never built a legacy. Ease never carved a path to greatness. Feelings are fleeting, but your decisions leave footprints. You say you're tired. But tired of what? Of the work or of not being who you know you could be? We live in a time where discipline is confused with punishment and softness is celebrated as wisdom. But hear me, self-respect does not come from indulgence. It comes from keeping your word to yourself, even when no one is watching. True discipline is not external. It is not about rigid rules or harsh schedules. It is internal. It is born from respect for your time, your potential, your future. Let me tell you something few will dare say. You're not behind because of a broken system. You're not unfulfilled because you're too busy. You're stuck because you choose comfort over conviction. But you can choose again. That is the power you've always had. Right now, in this moment, you can decide. I will no longer be governed by moods. I will act from principle. I will finish what I start. I will keep showing up, not because I'm motivated, but because I'm committed. That decision changes everything. Not immediately. Not magically. But inevitably. If you show up every day, imperfectly, if you train your body to move before it complains, if you teach your mind to obey before it resists, then over time, your character will change. You'll become someone you trust. And that, my friend, is the real reward. Not applause, not followers, not even success. The real reward is self-respect. The quiet strength that comes from knowing. I did not give in. I stood tall. I moved forward. Because discipline is not a prison. It is freedom from chaos, from regret, from the small, timid version of yourself that wants to quit. I wrote once, the very effort to rise by lifting ourselves lifts the world. But you cannot lift anything if you won't lift yourself first. So the next time you say I'm tired, ask yourself, am I really tired? Or am I undisciplined? Am I really at my limit? Or have I just never trained past the first layer of resistance? Push one more time. Wake up 1 hour earlier. Say no to one more distraction. Keep one more promise. That is how a disciplined life is built, not in grand moments, but in quiet choices. Do not chase motivation. Do not wait for clarity. Do not bow to your feelings. Stand, move, do. Because the truth is harsh, but it will set you free. You are not tired. You are undisciplined. But you don't have to stay that way. Samuel smiles.